Do you all remember going to the zoos as little kids after we learned about all the animals that lived there in school? I remember going with all my enthusiasm and seeing those big, large cats behind the glass panels and cage bars as they walked by and looked into our eyes. Hi, my name is Alexis Snyder, and I'm going to be talking to you about the importance of zoos as an educational and conservation program. By the end of this speech, you should agree with me that zoos serve as an educational program for the public and schools, and that they also help with conservation efforts across the globe. The controversy that surrounds zoos is not adequately represented in the media, and they are important for learning about conservation efforts, education, and veterinarian medicine. You should care about this topic because zoos serve as an educational outlet for local schools, for your potential future kids, and conservation efforts for wildlife across the globe. During this speech, I will talk about the ethical concerns within zoos, providing the importance of zoos, and more opportunities for the general public and zoos. To begin, let's talk about the concerns some people from the public have about zoos and how they are portrayed by the media. Some believe that animals in captivity is immoral and that the animals are suffering. These same people also believe that there are better ways to learn about these animals through TV or the internet versus going and visiting zoos. The TV or internet are better resources for understanding animals than in a zoo in some situations, but professional David Attenberg disagrees that zoos provide the whole picture of the animal. So, seeing certain animals in close proximity gives us a true understanding of their nature. However, some animals should never be in captivity unless they are endangered. An example of these would be lions and tigers, as they are not fully endangered. Within zoos, people are concerned that the animals are not well taken care of and aren't provided an adequate environment or a representation of the wildlife. Humans have become the voice of these animals, and it is in their best interest that zoos have created a more than adequate environment. They have done this through enrichment for animals, which have included realistic wildlife diets, larger enclosures, ways for them to hide from public that are visiting the zoos, and veterinarian care that they wouldn't receive in the wild. Animals may also be provided with enrichment activities. So you'll see like big balls for the cats, things for elephants to play on, the tires and swings for monkeys or chimpanzees, things along those lines that keep them active while they are in captivity. These are things that the media has left out in their portrayal of zoos a majority of the time. This was all found and can be found by an article created by Rob and Mickey that is called "Is It Time for Zoos to Close?" Now that you know how the public feels about zoos, we can move into how zoos can be representative by themselves. One idea is to increase their communication and outreach to the public, in that way by creating brochures. These brochures would be funded through volunteer work or through zoos. And an example would be John Bell Zoo creating brochures to give out to the surrounding community. These brochures could campaign for the animals and discuss what has happened with them over the last 3 months and go out every 3, 6, 9, and 12 months. The information that could be provided in those is if they have breeding programs going on, reintroduction into wildlife, and things along those lines that the public may not see and or hear about often. This was discovered in Confinement, Conservation, and Ethical Overview of Zoos by Sam Rose and Bessie. Now that we know how zoos can communicate accurate information, we can look at how they can create more opportunities for education to the public and for themselves. One way is holding meetings virtually or in person, and or educational courses for the public to attend to learn more information. Creating equal opportunities for public to attend the zoo, so being discount days, free days, things like those. And they can also outreach to the public with their breeding programs and have them come sit in and learn about those breeding programs. Breeding programs for conservation efforts with Earth's population increasing daily, the strain for land and resources is decreasing. Zoos are able to take these endangered species off that decreasing land use and give them a more adequate area. Once people are educated on zoos' efforts, their views should change in a way that they see how zoos can be an educational and conservation program to the general public and to local schools. This can all be found in Conservation Medicine in and Through Zoos by Vitelli, Reese, and Eden. After hearing this speech, you should agree with me that zoos serve as an educational, conservational, and a better medical world for animals in the zoos, and that they help with conservation efforts more often. Zoos are necessary in some economic and in some economies and locations for medicine, education, and conservation. So, have you been to a zoo lately? If you're like me, we're all overdue for an educational trip to our local zoo, that being John Bell Zoo, Potter Zoo, or Detroit Zoo. If you would like to learn more about zoos and their efforts, you can visit aza.org.